Mrs. Sophia Eriksson, Waterschoot, EAC, Youth Education and Erasmus+, Director, Universities and Research, we now address the gathering.
Dear Minister, dear distinguished directors, presidents, Deputy Director General, students, guests and friends, I am truly delighted to be here in Bologna, La Dotta, in this magnificent palazzo, to celebrate together the Bologna Declaration and our cooperation over 20 years. I would like to thank the University of Bologna and the Italian Ministry for Education, Universities and Research for organizing such extraordinary anniversary celebration and conference. And I would say we can be proud. We have many reasons to celebrate. The Bologna process has achieved a lot. The 3-cycle bachelor, master, doctorate system is a given. The European credit transfer and accumulation system is used throughout the Bologna countries, just like the common standards for quality assurance. Curricula are increasingly built on learning outcomes and are more student-focused, and recognition has become so much easier. The European Commission has always been a very active supporter for this work, both to help policies to move forward and through the famous, I would say, Erasmus program. Actually, Bologna and Erasmus are the closest friends. The success of Erasmus in the last 32 years would not have been possible without the dedicated work in parallel under the Bologna process. And I dare to say that Bologna would not have been the same without Erasmus. This close friendship paved the way for more comparable and transparent systems, for large-scale mobility of students and staff, and very close cooperation between higher education institutions. The Erasmus program, which actually started in 1987 with only 6 mobilities, now supports yearly over 300,000 students and 60,000 teaching staff to study or teach abroad. Nonetheless, we know that the implementation of Bologna commitments still varies between countries. This is why a continued work is so important. And ministers agreed last year in Paris to step up efforts to accelerate the implementation. The European Commission has since then provided dedicated action in the form of peer support projects. Now, Bologna Beyond 2020. It is closely intertwined with the developments of the European Union. The heads of state or government have just last week adopted the Union's new strategic agenda covering 2019 to 2024. In this agenda, they explicitly state we must step up investment in people's skills and education. In fact, it is not a surprise that the EU leaders put the emphasis on education. Looking at the 4 main priorities of the new strategic agenda: protecting citizens and freedoms, developing a strong and vibrant economic base, building a climate-neutral, green, fair and social Europe, promoting European interests and values on the global stage. Every one of these priorities can be achieved only on condition that Europe and its people have the relevant knowledge, skills, and attitudes. In other words, the necessary education. One way to substantially improve people's competencies, especially the transversal ones, so important in the future works context, being such as problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity, is the learning mobility can help so much on this. And we can see from recent impact studies from Erasmus Mobility that they are particularly beneficial when it comes to learning transversal competencies. And Bologna has helped so much to make this happen on this road of more learning mobility. But still today, only 5% of Europe's students can take part in Erasmus. 5%. It is clear we must do better, and for this, Bologna is crucial to advance this common challenge. In light of the high expectations that we have on education, but also to promote more learning mobility, the Commission proposed the European Education Area. It's a strong commitment to establish a genuine European learning space without borders, be it for school exchanges, student mobility, or volunteering. Of course, this is fully aligned with the European Higher Education Area, which we refer to in the Bologna context. The European Education Area has started its work. For higher education, we have 4 main initiatives: the new Erasmus program, a Council recommendation on automatic recognition, the European Student Card, and the European Universities Initiative. For the Erasmus program, the Commission has proposed a doubling of the budget for the period of 2021 to 27 to reach 30 billion euros, and meaning reaching more than 12 million participants. The proposal is now in the hands of the co-legislator, the European Parliament, and the Council of Ministers. To succeed in taking mobility to a new level, of course, as you know very well, automatic recognition of qualifications and learning periods abroad is fundamental. And actually, a significant share of citizens' inquiries that the Commission receives related to higher education is about recognition problems. We are committed to accelerate this work, thanks to our own Council recommendation and the existing Bologna tools. The digital European Student Card is a novelty. It will allow for secure electronic exchange of academic student data to simplify not only for the students, but for the universities themselves, which administer the learning mobility process. Now, European universities. When the EU's leaders met in 2017 to talk about education, they asked the Commission and Member States to encourage the emergence of at least 20 European universities by 2024. Since then, the Commission quickly launched the work of this flagship initiative, and over the last year we have witnessed something very unique, an incredible enthusiasm, forming of new partnerships across Europe, never seen before, and an impressive commitment to go beyond current levels of cooperation. And we see that universities have started to think of truly strategic, systemic, and sustainable alliances of universities. And European universities are meant to be just that, game changers. The results of the first European Universities Call is expected to be announced very soon. And I would say this is an exciting departure for Europe. I'm convinced that these initiatives will prove to be strong engines for positive change with concrete effects for students, staff, and institutions, but also for our economy and societies, and ultimately for Europe's competitiveness. The celebration today of 20 years of the Bologna Declaration is so emblematic, being right here in Bologna. And I think we can all agree of the progress we have achieved since the start. When we look forward beyond 2020, we should build on this great work. But perhaps it is the moment to take some further steps and be more ambitious, a bit what we have chosen to do within the context of the European Union. Let's do the same for Bologna. This is what I hope the conference will conclude tomorrow, and identify avenues for the joint reflection in the run-up towards the ministerial meeting in Rome next year. And the European Commission is definitely ready to continue to taking an active role and support this process. So thank you very much for your attention, and auguri a Bologna.